Plenty to talk about in relation to the events over the past 24 hours, which saw a resulting election of a new Prime Minister here in Thailand. It did take a few days. In fact, I suppose it took about 10 days between the ousting of Thaksin Shinawatra to the new situation we have today, where we have Anutin Charnvirakul as Thailand's 32nd Prime Minister. Good morning to everybody here. We've got a few people jumping in. I've asked people for their thoughts and their comments related to, I suppose, one particular question, and that's on the thumbnail, as to what's next for Thailand. We've had a bit of a, I suppose you'd call it politically, a quantum shift. I'm trying to think of another word for it. But we've basically seen the almost complete disintegration of the Shinawatra clan in just 10 days. One involuntary, ousted by the Constitutional Court. The other one perhaps voluntary. I'll get to that one in just a moment, with the travel plans of Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister of Thailand. Now, just some rules about the next hour, and I know we're going to get some comments that maybe disagree with what I have to say, and that's fine, as long as you are, well, I suppose, notionally respectful and don't throw insults at other commenters or me. Very, very entitled. But I might push back. I might have some thoughts of my own, which I'll probably fire back. So don't get all uppity and start to scream and rant. Just let's talk about the issues and not get personal with each other. I won't get personal with you. So plenty to talk about. I suppose the key thing for us as foreigners who maybe live here, we love to live here, we want to stay here, people who are here for a long time but maybe not necessarily permanently, and then the thousands and thousands, or the millions of tourists that come here each year and perhaps have a soft spot for Thailand. What's in it for you? What might change? The other thing I suppose that's overshadowing all this is that we've got a 4-month window. This is a window that was imposed on Anutin Charnvirakul and Phumjai Thai if they were to get the votes of the People's Party, and they got the highest number of votes at the 2023 election, and they control those numbers in Parliament. Now they've said, we'll vote for you on the parliamentary nomination and election and other key pieces of reform that you might put forward, but they'll decide if they're going to support them or not on those. But they're not actually standing up for any ministerial positions. They're not even in Parliament as part of the coalition. So we have a puppet Prime Minister and a puppet cabinet and a sort of a puppet Parliament, whereas we've got the people in the opposition basically controlling the wheels of power, well, at least for the next 4 months. So it's quite a difficult situation. Well, but having said that, I still believe, and I firmly believe, that we have stability in Thailand. There has been a change of Prime Minister, but the Parliament is still there. It hasn't changed, and it stays there until it's dissolved by the request of the elected Prime Minister to His Majesty the King, who will then suggest that the Parliament's dissolved and we go to another election. So people who say, well, Thailand's just got a lot of instability, I disagree with that. When I walk outside, I go to the shops, I mean, things are just exactly the same as they were yesterday, and exactly the same as they were about 11 days before the Constitutional Court fired the Prime Minister. So for people who say, for example, where's this gentleman making a comment, why can't I move that? I've got a little bit of a, there it is, it's moving now. One guy said, outercast. He said, who cares, what the fuck? Okay, well, I get that. He then said, are they Koreans? You might have to expand on that particular thought. But to an extent, he's sort of right. If you are coming here as a tourist, or even if you live here, pretty much nothing has changed. There are no huge, amazing things that are heading to Parliament over the next 4 months. I think we'd have to wait for the election of a progressive party like the People's Party, and if we have an election, I'll ask you, but I would imagine that the People's Party will romp in at least the highest number of votes, although they may have done themselves some damage over the past week by backing Pumjai Thai, staunch royalists, staunch conservatives, sort of at the opposite end of the political spectrum. So plenty of people who backed the People's Party may be saying, what the hell are you doing? But of course it was all about politics, it was all about numbers. But there may be some pushback. But really, if they are to become the next government, they're going to have to earn, I would have thought, 50% of the MPs in Parliament plus one to form a... Oh, thank you very much. And coming in from the side for this morning's coffee, by the way. You can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description. Always appreciate it. And thank you very much, I think, Daryl McGee, who's already sent me one this morning. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I really need this coffee too. So yeah, unless the People's Party get that mandate in Parliament, that 50% of the vote plus one. Remembering in Thailand they have compulsory voting, so a mandate in Thailand is a real mandate. Whereas in countries where voting isn't compulsory, for example, in the United States, I think they had 71 million people back the current president, but there's 330 million people in the United States. So when you say a mandate, it's sort of not quite a mandate. Countries that have compulsory voting, then you can have really a proper mandate representing the country that you're voting in. Happy to hear your thoughts on compulsory voting as well. So plenty to talk about. Let's just go through what happened yesterday. After that rather long preamble, I've got all the animals around. Anything could happen. We've got the new little cat, who will probably make an appearance because that's what she likes to do. But yesterday's vote was not even close, really, and it all started at 9 a.m. in the morning when the politicians sort of struggled into Parliament. I had three screens going so I could see what was going on. I thought, oh, maybe by 9:05 it's all over and done with and I can get on with my day. But no. There was a very long debate. It went for about 5.5 hours with a lot of politicians standing up objecting to the fact that there was going to be a vote for the Prime Minister on that day in that session of Parliament. Then the Democrats stood up and they said they're not going to vote, they're going to abstain. So that was some 25 votes taken out of the system. But around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they actually started voting. And the way they do it here in Thailand is they vote one by one. So the House Speaker or representative calls out the names in alphabetical order and the MP stands up and says who they're voting for. So the vote was between Anutin Charnvirakul and Thaksin, who was representing the Thai party. And in the end, after an hour and a half of voting, I did sit through the whole thing, 311 votes to Anutin and 156 to Thaksin. So Anutin got, well, a profound, a full majority of the people who were voting, and he's now installed as the 32nd Prime Minister of Thailand, but that is only going to last, in theory, for 4 months. So you would have to say that Anutin has got an exciting time ahead. He's got 4 months to really stake his claim of what he's thought is a job that was made for him. He's been very ambitious for, well, ever since 2014, although he served in an original Thaksin government back in the early 2000s. So he knows his way around Parliament, he knows his way around the numbers. He certainly had his eye on this job for at least since 2019, serving in the Prayut government and then starting with his father, the Pumjai Thai party. So he's got 4 months to prove himself. What does he have to do you think, to prove himself to the Thai people? What are the things that are going to get the Thai people's support? What are the things he has to do so when they have an election that they then say, oh, okay, we're going to throw our support behind Pumjai Thai? Now, at the last election, 143 votes went to the People's Party, 71 MPs were nominated to the parliament by the electorate. So 71 versus 142. They've got a long way to go before they reach the People's Party support. But he's a staunch royalist, a conservative. He's on the sort of one side of the political spectrum, and then you've got the People's Party on the progressive side. So my feeling is that given what's happened at the last two elections in 2019 with Future Forward, 2023 with Move Forward, which is now renamed the People's Party, it's pretty clear the way that the Thai electorate is leaning. In the last election, the Progressives got a much higher proportion of the primary vote than they did in the election before. So they would be, in their minds, thinking, gee, we've just got to get over 50% of the MPs. But here we are. That's in the future. Here we are today. What's going to happen? Now, at the same time, there was another incident yesterday, well, actually the night of Wednesday, when a former Prime Minister and the father of Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the Prime Minister who was hurled out of office by the Constitutional Court, decided to fly out of Thailand. Now, he was perfectly entitled to do so. Ever since a case of lèse majesté was thrown out about a month before, his passport was given back to him and he's perfectly entitled to fly. He's also got another investigation which has been rounded up, and he would sit in court next Tuesday and hear whether they're going to basically send him back to prison or not, because the investigation was about whether his 6-month stay in the 14th floor of the police hospital in Bangkok was legitimate, or whether he was just playing up where he was meant to be in jail. He was meant to be serving a prison sentence. So all that was meant to come up on Tuesday. Maybe he's heard a bit of a whisper. Things haven't gone down in his favour. And so he decided to take a bit of a trip to Singapore to visit his doctor. Not that there aren't some excellent hospitals and doctors in Thailand. He decided he's going to have to go to Singapore to visit a lung and heart specialist. Now, given that, if you're the pilot of his private jet, which we featured in a story yesterday about the incident, then you'd have to put enough fuel for, just over 2 hours. It takes about 2 hours to fly from Bangkok to Singapore. This is a very fast jet, almost flies just under the speed of sound. Pretty much faster than most of the commercial jets that are flying around. So, about a 2-hour flight to Singapore. So I don't know what the regulations are, but he'd probably have to carry 3 or 4 hours of fuel. Now, as he was heading towards Singapore, we showed this on the Flight Radar 24 yesterday, he was flying south through the Gulf of Thailand, and as soon as they cleared Thai airspace, just getting past the border of Thailand and Malaysia, they took a right-hand turn heading out towards the Malacca Strait. Then once in the Malacca Strait, they turned northwest, heading up towards India. And they just did a few loop-de-loops, and just in the Andaman Sea off Phuket, before continuing on to India, crossing through there, and then on to the United Arab Emirates and landing in Dubai. Now that's a long flight. I don't know. The way that they flew, it's probably a 7 or 8 hour flight. So the pilot, they didn't land at all. The pilot would have had to have known that they're flying to Dubai to make sure they carried enough fuel. So rather than 3 or 4 hours of fuel, there was probably at least 10 or 11 hours of fuel on that plane, allowing for the safety margins. And a flight plan would have had to have been submitted before they took off from the Don Mueang airport. And the excuse was, as they were heading towards Singapore, that, they're not going to be able to get there before the curfew. I think it's 10 p.m. at the Seletar airport in Singapore. So the pilot, I'm pretty sure, as soon as they took off, would have known that they're not going to make that curfew. So the whole thing sounds a little bit dodgy. And I'm usually prepared to give people the benefit of the doubt, but in this case I'm wondering perhaps not. I think this guy's taken Thailand for a ride. He's taken his party for a ride. He's taken his family for a ride. He's disgraced himself as he now is in Dubai. Will he come back for Tuesday? Well, if he does, all power to him and a pat on the back. If he doesn't, then he's just a shameful disgrace, and I hope he stays and rots in Dubai. But if he comes back and faces the music, then he's going to certainly earn a lot more respect and points from the Thai people. So they're the sort of the two things that have happened in recent days, but suddenly Anutin wakes up this morning and he's got a lot of work to do. So I'll go to your comments now and see what you think should be his major objectives over the next 4 months. The other question would be, will, after 4 months, he looks at the Memorandum of Understanding with the People's Party and goes, oh, I think I'll stay here and just let this parliament run out. The problem is he's leading a minority government. He doesn't really have all the votes. Per Thai Party and the Progressive Party, People's Party, in the opposition, can outvote anything that this minority government puts up. So if they disagree with anything he's doing or his decision to stay on as Prime Minister, all hell is going to break loose. So 4 months, the next 4 months, I think will be relatively stable, perhaps even exciting as this new minority government tries to push through things to fix some more clear challenges that are staring everybody in the face. We'll get to those in a moment. But after 4 months, I think it is going to be a quite interesting situation. We're either going to have a new election or we're going to have Anutin defying the People's Party, defying the agreement, and that would be well, I think it would be the end of Anutin, to be honest, but be happy to hear what you have to say. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. Just take a breather for a moment whilst I do. And we go to your comments. So we've already addressed the comment from Mr. Outcast. D. Munn has got a few things on his mind. Thaksin and his clan installed, funded and supported by the former US aid and other so-called NGOs. Anutin has the support of true Thai nationalism. Well, he only got 71 votes out of 500 MPs at the last election. But appreciate your support. Again, if I fire back at you about the comments you make, I'm not having a go at you, I'm having a go at your comments, and you're well entitled to do the same with me. He went on to say, this is Mr. D. Munn, Thaksin will live abroad in luxury with his handlers. Thailand can now prosper instead of extracted. There are decades where nothing happens and there are weeks where decades happen, quoting Lennon. Thai Stallion says Thaksin will not come back to Thailand to face the court's judgment. He's smart and rich. Well, look, he does face the prospect, I think, if the investigation comes down against him next week, that indeed a few Thai doctors did fiddle the books and make him look a lot sicker than he was. He would face the prospect of being sent back to prison to serve his term. So, sitting in a luxury Dubai condo or a Thai prison. I think I know what I'd do. Okay, so more comments from everybody. I know everyone in our village is happy, says Daryl McGee. Thank you very much for that. Morning all from Sydney, says Luke Manton. Morning Tim, says KM. The housing market outlook, commercial rental. Yeah, I think if when Prayut came to power, he said after the 2014 coup, he wanted to bring the happiness back to the Thai people. Interesting thing for a military general to say after a military coup. But I think if there was a motto behind what Anutin is trying to do, bringing stability back to Thailand would be his motto. Because I think his thought would be just calm the fuck down, everybody. Just calm down. Let's just get the economy back on track. Let's get tourists trusting Thailand to want to come back. Let's sort out the situation on the border. They're the things that really need to be done at the moment. And all these little bits of legislation that Thai and other governments have been playing with over the past couple of years, they're really probably not very important. Although I'm pretty sure we'll see some pieces of legislation pushed through. Excuse me. Scarface says, sound not good. Okay, I'm sorry if the sound's not good. I've got two mics sitting here in front of me. I can't really do much better. But I apologise if the sound's not very good. Got a buzzing sound. Why would it have a buzzing sound? It could be the fan there in the background. I'm not really sure. Sound. Morning. Okay. If the sound continues to be bad, move your mic. Okay, the fan. Okay, so excuse me, I'll turn the fan down and turn it off. I don't know, has that improved the sound? I can't put headphones into the computer because the jack where I put the headphones is exactly where the mic goes, such as this little Mac. It's small, it's a MacBook Air. It's only got two USB inputs and the headphone jack, which also takes the mic. It's all very ingenious the way that they've sort of reduced the number of inputs, but when you're trying to do something like this, it makes it a little bit difficult. The sound is fine, Tim. Okay, now it's bad, haha. The sound is perfect, I don't know. I'll just keep on going with your comments. Billion Bass, 330 million in the US, including those under 18. Over 150 voted in the last election. Yeah, I understand that. But even 150 is not a majority of US citizens. I think that you can't really have a democracy unless you have compulsory voting. Saying that to be a citizen in a country, it's your responsibility, or one of your responsibilities, that you've got to vote when it comes up, when the opportunity comes up to vote. That's just my thinking on the issue. I think the only thing that's changed is some pushback airfares for you. I think the only thing that has changed is some pushback airfares for you very much. Yeah, so the TAT, I'm not sure if I've got that right, they were proposing a free return domestic airfare for people that booked a flight between September and December. Now that hasn't been approved, given that obviously the government's had other things to worry about. It's quite a big ask out of the budget coffers. So I think the cabinet would have to sign off on that. We don't have a cabinet as of today, but they may indeed look at that and go, yeah, that's a great idea. So we're still waiting to hear whether they're going to offer those free return domestic flights within Thailand. So if you book your flight today, that's not on offer. Love the shirt, says Pat Thai. Pat Thai, is it you who's got a birthday today? No, I think I'm right. If it is, happy birthday. It's really interesting watching Thai politics, says Heathrow, and the constant changes every few months. It's never boring. Well, every few months, yeah, certainly we had a fairly settled situation. Firstly, that year with Seta Thaksin as the Prime Minister, and then the first 6 or 7 months with Paetongtarn Shinawatra. It was only after that phone call that she made with Hun Sen, the Senate leader of Cambodia, to try and resolve the Thai border dispute. It was a personal phone call. It wasn't meant to be recorded, but it was recorded and it was shared. And that's pretty much brought down both her prime ministership, the Thai government, and indeed, I think, any immediate prospects for the Shinawatra family. Can you give a happy birthday for Nick Kerr? Says Jay Cabral. I have no idea who Nick Kerr is, but happy birthday, Nick. Happy birthday to you. I don't know who Nick Kerr is. Am I meant to know who Nick Kerr? Am I meant to know who he is? Anyway, Jay Cabral and Nick Kerr, best wishes to you. Okay. Scar, yes, deleted the comment. I haven't deleted anything. I'm sorry, I haven't deleted any comments on this feed. Shins, very, very casual of you. Mr. Shinawatra will inevitably be back like that persistent bad smell. How old is Thaksin now? I think he's sort of getting on. At some stage, you would probably have to sit back and go, I've had my time, I've done my thing, I'm sort of content where I am, I've got enough money, I can go and play golf every day, why bother? But that may not be his thing. Sounds like a bit of fan on the mic. I think the only thing that's changed is some pushback. Okay, right. When you're scared, go conservative, says Patrick. When you're scared, go conservative. Remembering that the people haven't voted for Anutin to be Prime Minister, the MPs in Parliament, who were elected, they've voted for Anutin to be Prime Minister. I suppose there's a slight difference there. Was that a one-eyed dog walking backwards? Okay. Suggestion from Larry the Fink. When beginning the live stream, take a quick glance at comments to see if any audio or video issues are at play. When beginning the live stream, I did. There were no comments at the start of the live stream about the sound or anything. So I'm sorry if the sound is not good. These live programs, they're sort of difficult. And the only problems I have anytime during the week are these live streams. I love doing them. I like the interaction with you. But I don't have any tech support. I don't have staff around me. I watch a lot of live streams, and they all seem to have like heaps of staff around them. People walking around in the background, and they refer to different producers and writers and technical mixers and things. I've got nobody. I've got a dog and 3 cats. Comment from Scarface. So while Thailand encourages turnout through these restrictions, it does not enforce compulsory voting in the same way as countries like Australia or Belgium. Yeah, I think you're right. The old enforcement situation in Thailand. In Australia, they do track you down and they fine you. For the first couple of years when I was living here in Thailand, I'd be getting notices after elections fining me. And I kept on saying, well, I'm living overseas. I haven't voted for an Australian election for about 20 years. Albert Coe, is Mr. Anutin royalist or conservative or progressive? He's a royalist and a conservative. He backed the Per Thai party to become the first coalition after the 2023 election because he was concerned about the Move Forward Party, as they were still called at the time, and their agenda to amend the constitution and get rid of the rules about lèse majesté, for example. Now, he's a firm royalist and a conservative. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that is the situation. Chris Roberts, also, if Anutin doesn't call an election in 4 months, he'll be seen not to be sticking to his word exactly. And in all of this, the People's Party will get an election, will be able to nominate a Prime Minister. Yeah, look, if they win 50% of the vote, the leader of the party or one of their prime ministerial nominees, which is still the current constitution, that they can just make up, that they can elect their own Prime Minister and rule without having to refer to any coalition or other parties. That's a big ask with Thai politics the way it is, to be able to get 50% of the vote plus one. If they do, it'll be a real signal about the way that Thai people see the situation with all the other parties. Now, we are looking at a real sort of sea change in Thai politics, the rise of these progressives, led by mostly younger politicians, younger intellectuals, a lot of them academic in their background. And of course, there's a whole new raft of younger Thai voters coming up who seem to prefer the progressive side of politics. That's pretty much the same around the world. Younger voters tend to vote more left than right, and as they get older, they get a bit more conservative and right-wing, except me. Also, if Anutin doesn't call... Okay, we've done that one, but I think that's a fair comment, Chris, thank you. Larry, if Anutin wants to prove himself to me, he should give all Australians free tickets to Thailand. Damn good idea. So I can fly back as well and visit my family. Hellishly expensive at the moment. I won't be doing that anytime soon. Hi, Gail, saying hello. The octopus is just around the other side of this shelf. Gail says, nice shirt, Tim, all the way from Chicago on a Friday evening. Thank you very much. Timu, 210 baht. I see Dana, that'd be Dina? Probably actually the new cat, who's officially, well not officially, who's still got the name Little Cat, because we haven't come up with another name, and she's half the size of our other cats. So I think she's about 18 months old, or the vet does, but she's just got the name Little Cat for now. Little Cat with a ton of spirit. Damien, yes, have to give flight plan to the airport before takeoff, referring to Thaksin's journey on Wednesday night. Stoop Solo, I doubt very much did loop the... when I said did the loop the loop, he did 2 360-degree turns, tracked on flight radar 24. So he didn't do vertical loop the loop. Now it'd be interesting to know if the plane would be able to do that. I suppose doing a loop the loop, you're pulling what, about 1 Gs if you maintain that. The plane's well able to withstand that. I know when I was learning to fly, I was flying in a plane that was built to do loop the loops. Not that that was its intended purpose, but so we had to learn how to do them and how to get out of a stall in the middle of a loop the loop. So that was interesting. I thought, gee, this aircraft's a lot beefier than I thought it was. Can you tell us how you really feel about Thaksin? Oh, I think I did. I've had generally a fairly benign approach to Thaksin and his role in Thai politics. He was Prime Minister long before I got to Thailand. He did do some very good things for Thailand. I think he brought a focus back to the voters, whereas before that the various parliaments were really sort of just elected arms of the army and the sort of the Thai elite. But Thaksin was a popularist, and I think he brought populist politics to Parliament. He introduced, for example, free public health for all Thai people, and that continues to be a mainstay of the public health system in Thailand. And that was quite revolutionary for Thailand at the time. And it remains. I mean, the countries in the world that have got free public health care that sort of works are still quite few, but he did bring that to Thailand, and it maintains today. But I think his actions since he returned to Thailand, I think his actions have been quite regressive and destructive towards Thai democracy and the future of stability in Thailand. And the way I feel now, especially if he doesn't return next week, I'd be saying good riddance. But we'll see if he does. And all power to him if he does. Rolando, good morning, Tim, from Chaya and district of Suratani. I don't think that Thaksin will come back. He just ran away. I sort of agree with you. That's the way I see it too. Pat Thai, oh my God, couldn't Tim rant on his secret flight plan? Oh, I don't think it's much of a rant. At the end of the day, a pilot's going to have to submit. Are you going to come and say hello, little cat? Come and say hello. Come on. Oh. Yes, Tim and his cats again. I bring Daisy up, but she's lying on the floor and she's far too heavy to lift these days. But this cat was emaciated and had a lot of injuries, we believe, after a dogger cat when she appeared on our property. She's now a very happy little cat, and she's fully recovered, and she eats more than the other two cats almost combined. So that's little cat, and she's just a little street cat that's turned up, and looks like she's going to stay in our house. Don't really need to see that. So there you go. Report on Little Cat. Robert Larkin, 4 months gives Anutin time to dig dirt on popular candidates so they can be excluded if elected. Also a popular discussion on constitutional referendum prior to any election. Yeah, the People's Party backed Anutin and Bumjai Thai. One of the conditions were that they call for election reform and constitutional reform. So there will probably be in the background quite a lot of discussion about that. The lese majeste rule or laws, section 112, section 112 of the criminal code is a real sticking point between Bumjai Thai and the progressives. He's going to hang around now. I think we're going to have to put up with her for the rest of the day. She doesn't mind being in front of the camera. Girls, don't want to see that. Chris Roberts, up in the Chiang Mai rural area, the two discussed topics are Cambodia, that needs to be addressed, and also the price received on grown goods needs to be more. Yeah, certainly rural Thailand, the sort of agricultural engine, part of the powerhouse of the Thai economy, you won't like the coffee, so don't even try. It is a very important part of the Thai economy, and I think it needs to be addressed. The situation on the Thai-Cambodian border is very, very important to getting stability. Now, the army have been doing a lot of work. There's plenty of army presence and military presence up along the border. Very unlikely that there's going to be any more skirmishes or any outbreaks where people's lives are put under threat. I can't see either side wanting to ramp that up again. Beyond that, I think Anutin is the sort of guy who'd probably be inclined to pick up the phone and call the Prime Minister of Cambodia, and those two can get together and have a summit and work out a way forward, because travellers from Thailand to Cambodia is the biggest percentage of the Cambodian tourist industry, and the trade between Thailand and Cambodia across that border is huge and crucial. And the number of Cambodians who are coming across Thailand, basically living on the Thai side of the border and plying their trade, or coming across on a daily basis with day passes, that was, we're talking of hundreds of thousands of people. And I think they'd all like to get their lives back on track again. For you, if you're wanting to make your way across land from Thailand to Cambodia or in the other direction, well, you simply can't do that at the moment. The land borders are closed between Thailand and Cambodia. You can fly into Cambodia and then fly on into Thailand. You can fly from Thailand to Cambodia, but across the land borders at the moment, well, they're closed. David Connolly, Anutin, I hate it when that happens. I sort of just touch on the scroll and it all disappears. I'm trying to find up in Chiang Mai. Here we are, Robert. David. Anutin's primary task to show some leadership on the border issue and stop young Thai soldiers losing their legs to landmines. I think there's been some 6 incidents over the past 2.5 months of Thai soldiers losing legs, losing limbs after stepping on landmines. These landmines appear to be freshly laid. The ones that are found, they can see that they've only been manufactured in the last couple of years, so they're freshly laid. They can't be blaming the days of the Khmer Rouge rule in Kampuchea as why these mines are on those border areas. Okay, so cannabis is legal, or I need a doctor's recipe? Muck asks. Okay, well, the situation is the Public Health Minister over the past 3 months under the Per Thai Coalition, which included Bumjai Thai, did lay down some new guidelines and rules. Cannabis has not been recriminalised. That would have to be an act of Parliament to do that, as I understand it. But they've set out some guidelines as to the way that it's administered, the way it's dispensed and sold, and just basic rules like that, things that were never done Anutin, I won't go back into the history. Cannabis is still legal in Thailand, but it's medicinal cannabis, and at the moment, in theory, you need to get a prescription. That's the way that they're going to administer it in the near to middle future. I think given the number of things that Anutin needs to do in the next 4 months, he probably won't be addressing the cannabis guidelines. Also should say that all the parties before the 2023 election all included in their manifestos policies which included either recriminalising cannabis or controls and guidelines. So you sort of got 71 votes in Parliament versus, well, currently 492 total MPs. So for him to make any radical changes to cannabis in the way that it would free up its dispensing in Thailand, I don't think is going to happen. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's either a priority or politically savvy for him to do at the moment. But I'm happy for people to disagree. Let's go further. Morning, Tim. Eurovision Chris. Sound is fine for me. Heading tomorrow out of Cambodia to Vietnam. Hope all are doing well. Thank you, Eurovision Chris. Best wishes with your plans. Tell us, how did you find Cambodia? Are people sort of talking about the borders on the streets? I sort of imagine that people are sitting in a Siem Reap bar, enjoying the view, enjoying the nice weather. They're not really talking about border issues, but happy to hear what they are talking about. Robert Larkin. Thaksin probably can't use his Cambodian passport this time to land next door. I don't think he's going to be heading to Cambodia. Very sure about that. The days of the love-in with the Shinawatra and the Hun family, they're over. Eileen Morris Duke. Hi, Eileen. Are you back in the country as yet? I'm not having any issue hearing you. Great. Thank you, Eileen. We've got come on, little cat. Can you hear her? She's got a big voice, so she's still making enemies with the other cats. Thaksin called me yesterday, says Jack Flowers. He's playing golf in Dubai this weekend, and Monday he's flying to London to meet King Charles for a game of chess and fish and chips. Well, that's great. Keep us informed. You seem to be in the know there, Jack. We look forward to hearing about it. I agree about voting. That's my thought about compulsory voting, says was once. Yeah, look, I grew up in a country that had compulsory voting, so I might be biased. Australia's had stable elections and stable changes of government generally for so long. I think we all see the system as we have it as a system that seems to work for that population, and compulsory voting is part of it. The other thing, though, as I was growing up, in my father's conversations with his friends and stuff, people never really disclosed their political allegiances. They didn't wear it on their hands and have big signs waving it or wear red hats. I mean, that was just never done. Either out of politeness, because, you don't discuss sex or politics. But no, that it was never really a thing. I'm not sure if that culture's changed in Australia. Maybe people are more proud of their political allegiances these days. But certainly when I was growing up, the discussion of your political allegiances was not really seen as something that should be happening in polite conversation. Never knew there is IKEA coming in Phuket. Muck. Are you talking about the, yes, that is an IKEA, shelves behind me. It's about 6 years old now, been dragged from a few houses. Doesn't transport particularly well. It's a bit wobbly these days, but otherwise it's still fine. Yes, there's an IKEA in Phuket. It's a showroom. They don't really have storage there for very much. I've just bought a new IKEA sofa, not for me, for one of the beach houses. And so you order it, and we'll go to Phuket to pick it up. Sort of comes in a box, and then you unfold it and turns into a 3-seater sofa. I don't know how they do it, but they've got now 3 stores in Bangkok, and that's where all the other storage is, up in Bangkok. The store they have in M Sphere, I actually visited there when I was in Bangkok was it last week or the week before? I actually enjoy walking around an IKEA store. I get all sorts of ideas about interior decoration, and I hate to say, I do love me a IKEA Swedish meatballs in their cafe. That's just me. Okay, Thailand is far from democratic, says Evil Twin. Well, okay. I've always described Thailand's political system as a quasi-democracy or democracy Thai style. Name a country that's truly democratic. Name a country where the politicians don't play the numbers, where there isn't vote buying going on. I mean, I think democracy is difficult, and there are going to be plenty of people who see it as a career opportunity, and in some countries an opportunity to make a lot of money. There's one country that comes to mind where to become an elected politician you need to have not just millions these days, but tens and hundreds of millions to support you in a campaign. And whilst there's no restrictions on the use of social media to advertise your, that's a little cat, to campaign your candidacy, there are a few countries these days where money doesn't buy votes one way or the other. And the whole lobbying system can skew democracies as well. Lobbying basically paying for pay to play. So yeah, Evil Twin, if you're saying Thailand is far from democratic, tell us where there is a truly democratic government in the world. Democracy is hard. Democracy is expensive. The cat's just gone into the cat box. I'm not looking. Never knew there's an IKEA coming to Phuket. Done that one. Had some initial static. Very much appreciated for your well wishes, Pad Thai. Thank you very much. I won't forget the cherry ripes and the shirts. Love your shirt with the church collars. Yes, all my days of being a priest are over, but I've still got some of the shirts left over. Astronavis. Tim, do you ever worry about analysing and commentating on Thai politics? No. I'm not being critical necessarily. I suppose I've been very critical of Thaksin, but I've worked in the media since 2011 here in Thailand. I've written thousands of stories about Thai politics. I've got a pretty good overview of the whole situation and the shenanigans over the past 14 years. So it's sort of partly my job when I sit here in front of you. You expect me to be able to speak logically and with some sort of experience and authority about Thai politics. So no, if I start to be overly critical about one side or the other, or if I start to say something that's illegal or defamatory, or against the Section 112 of the Criminal Code, then yeah, I'd be worried, but I wouldn't do that. I sort of know where the grey line is, and I'm not going to cross over that. Thank you for the question. Douglas R. Tim, I made a brain fart of a comment. I deleted the comment, wasn't accusing you of deleting it. Thank you, Douglas R. That's all right. Tim for President, not going to happen. Hello from Kansas. Sound is fine. Tim for President, well, both Australia and Thailand, one country where I'm a citizen, the other country where I choose to live, they don't have presidents, so I can't be president of either country. In Australia, to be the head of state there, I'd have to be the Governor General, and that's not going to happen. Here in Thailand, well, definitely not going to be the head of state here. For me, the sound is perfect, says Astronavis. President of what, says Evil Twin. I've heard this new guy is disliked since before. Yeah, look, Anutin is not popular with other politicians. I think partly because his ambition has been very much to the front, and Thai people don't necessarily like overly or outwardly ambitious people. Also, his unilateral legalisation of cannabis was not popular in the parliament because it went against his conservative constituents and his conservative coalition partners at the time. I don't think they've ever quite forgiven him for that. And whether you think cannabis has been good or not for Thailand, in all the polls when they ask the Thai people, they all want the situation as it was over the past couple of years to be curtailed or cut back down a bit, and that's sort of been what's happened. So it's not it's not as if you ask the Thai people, they'd all want cannabis legal again. That's not the case. In fact, it's the contrary. If Thaksin doesn't show up for the court hearing, I recommend prosecuting all people helping him stay out of jail and flying to Dubai. Now, the situation is, he was well entitled to fly out of the country, even fly to Dubai. I don't know why he just didn't say, I'm going to visit my specialist in Dubai. Why did he say he's going to Singapore if it was his intention to go to Dubai? They couldn't have taken that plane off if they had a flight planned to Singapore. It simply wouldn't have carried enough fuel. If he doesn't turn up for court to hear the results of the hearing, then the court can issue an arrest warrant, and he definitely won't come back in that case. Or they might say, okay, we'll give you another couple of weeks to come back, and then if he doesn't turn up, they'll issue an arrest warrant. Either way, if he doesn't come back next Tuesday, I think there's going to be a lot of trouble for the Shinawatra family in their future here in Thailand. Anutin is an experienced and clever politician, which cannot be said of the last two prime ministers. Says Antoine, look, Seta Thaksin, I think, was actually a good prime minister. He was very business focused. He was hard working. He's an accomplished and very wealthy businessman. He maybe wasn't particularly politically savvy, but I think he was a good man and he was a good prime minister at the time. Tan, obviously totally inexperienced and was riding on the coattails of her father's dwindling popularity. But yes, Anutin is experienced and he is clever. There's no doubting that. Eurovision Chris, something interesting here in Cambodia. Tried to access Thai PBS and other Thai websites from Wi-Fi here, and it's blocked by Cambodian government. Easy to get around with a VPN, but found it very interesting. Yes, I think the fight along the border between the armies and the military was a bit savage there for a week or so, and sadly, a lot of good people, civilians and soldiers died. But the biggest fight between the two governments has been on social media and between their press. It's been both savage, been mostly incorrect, certainly has not been unbiased. And I think it's brought shame on both countries, the way that their media have treated the situation. I've tried to remain relatively neutral on the situation, because I think that's the best way for me to report. I've read out as many stories from Khmer Times and from Phnom Penh Post as I have from the Thai media. But generally, when I've sort of put logic and checked the facts, I've sometimes come down on the Thai side, but that's only after I've done my own sort of investigations. Thank you, Eurovision Chris. Ty Draper, as with all politics, no one can please everyone all the time. Voting doesn't cure that. Democracy has proven that throughout history. Yeah, when you vote in a democracy, sometimes the other side with different opinions is going to become the government. You sort of got to say, got a phone number there. I'll leave that. How can I say I don't want the phone call? I can turn it off. There we are. Sorry about the interruption. I won't be taking that phone call. Probably a delivery. Little cat should be called Dinky, says Eileen Morris Duke. Dinky. Dinky, Dina and Dusty and Daisy. I like Dinky. A good suggestion. But we're sort of just waiting for a spark from the sky or something to hit us so we go, that's the cat's name. But I put Tinky on the list. That's a good suggestion. Hello from Hua Hin says, this is Lars. Ty Draper back again. No matter who is appointed the PM in Thailand, it will be politics as usual. Yeah, look, I think there is sort of a feeling, as I sort of scroll back here, I'm sorry, it's just all, there we go. Yeah, if you want to visit Thailand at the moment, all the attractions are open, the bars are open, the beer's flowing, the beaches are clean. We are in the wet season. Actually, this is the wettest month of the wet season. The last 2 days here were fairly wet. Today, nice and sunny and clear, I'm glad to say. But generally, yeah, as far as you're concerned, either an expat or a business person or a tourist visiting here, nothing really is going to profoundly change in the near future. I really like Destiny as a name for the little cat. Destiny, 3 syllables. I sort of prefer maximum of 2 syllables. Destiny, thank you. How about Kit Kat? Okay. Are smelling the cat's bum. I certainly wasn't smelling the cat's bum. Good morning, Tim. Greetings from Hua Hin. Hope this is a signal of the end of the Thaksin stronghold. By the way, the sound is fine. Ty Draper, I like the name. Catatonic. Okay, great. Eurovision, Chris, very noticeable here in Siem Reap, the low number of travellers here for the past month. I'm sure it will be a shock to the system. A little cat's just jumped up on the top of the fridge. I was in a shop yesterday, and if you wanted to buy, I could just walk in and buy it. The rules have not changed yet. Thank you, Sea Gin Paradise. Sea Gin Paradise. I'm thinking I was saying something rude there. Yeah, look, I think as these new rules sort of start to unfold, that it's going to sort of make its way out into the retail sector, and that shops and localities and regions, there will be workarounds, and all the retail shops will be onto each other saying, hey, I think this is a way we can sort of get around the rules. It will still be available. You may need a prescription, you may not. But yeah, cannabis is still legal in Thailand, specifically medicinal cannabis. I think that's the bottom line on the changes to the guidelines and rules. I don't smoke, but was told could still buy just by walking in. Thank you. Jinpo, my boy Anutin, bringing back that ganja farming. Prescription will be a formality. Let's go Thailand. I suppose I have one thing to say about that in regards to Anutin and cannabis. Follow the money. Damien Jesser, be just... Daisy, get out of there. Daisy in the cat litter box. Great podcast with no problems with the audio. Pad Thai, Australian $20 fine for those who fail to vote. I'm going to really bang through the rest of these. I'll try and catch up. Is Anutin pro-PHANG? This is from Natoponify. Natoponify. He has been remembered in the expat community for making comments in the early days of the COVID situation in Thailand. I think it was late in 2020. No, it must be either before they closed the airports or just after they reopened them. For whatever reason, or maybe it's after they stopped tourism, but it was all the expats still in the country. But there was Thai people, or everybody in the country was told if they're outside, put a mask on. And plenty of foreigners were walking around without masks, either because they weren't aware of the rules or because they decided they wanted to defy the rules. And so Anutin, at a sort of a doorstop with the media, said, oh, these dirty foreigners, you know, they don't shower often enough. And it was a bit of a doorstop side comment. I don't think it was made with any great consideration. But the comment has hung around his neck ever since, where expats see him as anti-foreigner. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think he sees the wisdom of having foreigners investing and travelling and living in Thailand. And that if he was asked if I was to sit him down, I'd say, hey, that comment you made about dirty PHANG, I'm pretty sure he'd laugh it off, saying it was just sort of a quick off-the-cuff comment. But it will be a noose around his neck with foreigners forevermore, I'm sure. Let's go on. Used to be $50, talking about the fines in Australia. Tim, there is less and less interest in politics here in Australia, more than I can ever remember. Retirement dreamer. Gee, every time I sort of get on with my Australian friends, that's all they ever seem to want to talk about. Have you been called to do your jury duty yet? Jury duty. In Australia, never been called for jury duty. And now I'm overseas, I suppose I'm not receiving the letters. I don't even have an address in Australia. Where are they going to send the letters to? I'm not on the electoral roll. So no, I haven't been called to do jury duty. Thaksin in Dubai planning the next Shinawatra 4 p.m. There's no other Shinawats in the family. None of his other children have shown even the slightest interest in getting into politics. IKEA flat pack rubbish, says Andrew Rogers. Great at first until you move at first time, then it falls apart. Cheap chipboard at premium price. I found the opposite, Andrew. I think in the early days that was a common perception, but generally with IKEA products in recent years, I found the quality to be very high. It's sort of medium priced, but it's readily available. It's contemporary. It's easy to put together and access. I've had 3 IKEA kitchens. I've got another one here. It's been there for 2 years and shown no signs of deterioration. Few marks on the bench tops. I was silly enough and picked a light colour. So, it's basically a Laminex type product, the bench tops. But no, I've had no problems. But thank you very much. That's your experience. Eurovision, Chris, I'd put Switzerland down as a very democratic country, differently run but very democratic. They've got like those sort of, anytime there's any new policy by the government, they have to put that out to the vote. I can't remember what they got, citizens something or other. So I think it is very democratic. That's a good suggestion, Damien. Thank you. Mark my word, Anutin will honour his promise next election is coming. No need to betray people right now. He isn't stupid. Yeah, I think it would be a political error if he did decide. Okay, Jeremy Clark. G'day, Tim. Great podcast. No problems with audio. Cheers, brother, from Koh Yang, Prakonchai, Buriram, Anutin country. Watch you almost every day. Love Thailand. Thank you. Is Anutin pro-foreign? We've done that one. Not many Cambodians talk. Tim, is there less and less interest? Have you? Sorry, I'm just going back through here. Mark my word. Ty Draper, I totally agree with you about the money in politics. All countries are guilty of it, and especially the USA. Lobbyists' money should be considered a bribe. I think lobbyists should be banned in the United States. I think it's corrupted the politics such that we've ended up with a situation that exists in the country now. Don't think lobbyists have been a good idea at all. The lobbyists would disagree, and the politicians that have taken their money. Alf, I wonder what has motivated Anutin to push so hard to become Prime Minister. Is it merely a pride and face thing? Does he have some policy he thinks will benefit Thailand? Is it for personal gain? I think he's motivated by public service. His family started Pumjai Thai Party. I think politics is in his blood. He comes across, he's well educated. He's an engineer. He's a pilot. He owns numerous planes. And I think his heart's generally in the right place as regards Thailand. So I think his motivation is relatively pure. But I think once you're in government in Thailand, it can be a very alluring medicine. Many Cambodian workers who previously worked in Thailand must be very disappointed with their government. Now workers out of other countries are contracted by Thailand. Yeah, Thailand has made some instant changes, allowing more Burmese and Lao migrant workers to come in and replace the Cambodian workforce, particularly on that east side of Thailand where there was a lot of Cambodian migrant workers. I would call her apricots, like cat looks sweet as apricots. Maybe Fanta, because she's orange, wherever she's gone. You call that cat Destiny and I'll never watch again, says Sandy Wind Marco Polo. Antoine, your comment just visited. Our cats are called Mickey, Minnie and Daisy. Sorry, I have joined late, and if the comment has been addressed already, this is from Steve P. Thaksin knows the outcome already of the court case, hence why he's fled. Secondly, didn't he change flight plans twice? Twice. I think the thought was originally that he said or told the people at the airport he was going to fly domestically, and then it was found out that he was flying to Singapore, and then the immigration department apprehended him and his consortium, his entourage, and said, "You're actually leaving the country." And so there was about a 2-hour wait while they checked all the paperwork. And then, yes, whilst in the middle of the flight halfway to Singapore and just out of Thai airspace, they headed northwest. So you're right. 65% of the voting population in America voted in 2024. Seems like a mandate to me. As usual, we may have to agree to disagree. Okay, 65% of the voting population in America voted, and then just over half voted one way and the other, just under half, voted the other way. So in fact, you end up with 32 or 33% of the population, voting population, determining what happens. So I think unless you've got 100% of the vote, the available voting public actually casting a vote, then you don't have a mandate. But 65% is over 50%, I'll give you that. But I think if you want a true mandate representing the people, it should be a responsibility of every citizen of a country, in my opinion, that one of the responsibilities is that you have to cast a vote. It can be a donkey vote, but you need to go to the polls and cast your feeling about what you want for the future of your country. I would say for the other 35% that didn't vote, if they then want to have a whinge about the result, then they've got no leg to stand on at all, because they didn't even bother to go and cast a vote. But thank you, Bill, for your thoughts. JS, a few months ago, I saw a Clive Clusser book. Where are they? Up here. Clive Clusser books, there you go. And it inspired me to reread all the Dirk Pitt novels in chronological order. Good luck. I make my own furniture, and frankly, it craps all over the market brand, says Larry the Fink. That's great. You can make some furniture for me, please. Netaponify, good answer. As an expat Scot living here for 18 years, I would agree many ties are apolitical. Few more. Truly wish for Thailand to have a real democracy where the highest power belongs to the people at last. My only hope is that our country will never have to go through another coup. Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite simplistic for people to say, coup on the way, coup incoming, there's going to be another coup. If you have a look back at the history of Thai coups, there's been plenty of them to study, there's always been a trigger. At the moment, I don't see a trigger. The Constitution from 2017 has been enforced. The changes of Prime Minister have all been constitutional and enacted by elected parliamentarians, so I don't see a trigger. Now, if there was some shenanigans, some vote buying, I don't know, something that was seen to be untoward, then the army may have a trigger. But they don't have a trigger at the moment, unless the situation got particularly bad up in the on the eastern border, the border with Cambodia, and there might have to be some sort of martial rule. I don't see the need for a trigger at all. I don't see a trigger that the army would act on, given that the current army commander has said only in the last couple of weeks there will not be another coup. So we'll leave that as it is. I don't think we can say any more than that. Jeremy Clark, Dinky, voted by our family in Kok Yang Pa Prakon Chai Buriram. Dinky, looks, might be Dinky. Bartman. not Batman, Bartman. Anutin paid the Cambodian strongman to release the phone call recording to embarrass the PM. Well, there you go. There's a conspiracy theory. It certainly has brought down the Shinawatra, the Paetongtarn Shinawatra government. I don't think anybody would have foreseen that phone call, and the contents of that phone call certainly didn't paint her in a good light. But I didn't really see it bringing down her coalition government. But there you go. It's just imagination. And who paid Paetongtarn to say that? Maybe the cat can simply be called Noi or Meow Noi, cat small. Thanks everybody for joining in. We've had a bit of a talk about where to for Thailand, the things that may come up as the main issues. I certainly see the border as being the primary issue that Anutin needs to address. We need to bring an ongoing, long-running peace to the border. With all the talks about barbed wire and whether Cambodians are on one side of the border or not, there's been little discussion about let's actually decide where the border is. So that still sort of lingers there in the isthmus. But the Thai-Cambodian border situation, and I think that's the number one priority. The Thai economy, trying to prove that there's some stability in Thailand. I believe there is, and that hasn't changed. And they need to ramp up the Thai manufacturing sector and the agricultural sectors, and also the tourists. They need to come up with some policies, whether it's going to be free return domestic flights as proposed by the TAT, or maybe some other idea. Tourism is down some 7% compared to the same time last year. Not the end of the world, but people say they're going off to other places in Southeast Asia. Providing some competition for Thailand, I see that as only a plus. People are coming to Southeast Asia, maybe visiting a couple of places, including Thailand. I think that's a win-win for everybody. Thailand still has a much deeper tourist infrastructure than all the other countries around it regarding tourism. There's a lot more to see. There's a lot more dynamism in the different places and landscapes that you can visit. A lot more selection of hotels. So I still think Thailand has got a lot to offer, but 7% down, that would be rattling a few cages, and I'm pretty sure that all people in the tourism industry would want to turn that around fairly quickly. Thank you for dropping in. Don't forget, buy me a coffee if you ever feel so inclined. Also got a new segment starting. I was going to start it today, but obviously there's been a lot more important things to discuss, but we're going to introduce a segment I'm calling Thai Tech Support. So there was a photo of me with some sort of Thai, some tech support type headphones, and we're going to do that as an ongoing segment where you send, I'll actually have like a maybe a Facebook page, and you can put your questions and comments, and I'll address them once a week in our new segment called Thai Tech Support, which will probably replace this weekly Saturday morning live program. We'll see what happens. But thanks for watching today. Hopefully we've shared a bit of information and a few thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.